Welcome to another episode of the WaterBearBrigade. Today we are doing a response video to Michael Rowlands. I've already made about half this video, but for some reason my computer crashed and none of the video from the Google Hangouts was saved onto my YouTube channel, so fuck. But anyways, feel free to like, subscribe, leave comments. I'm very pro free speech. Even if you're trolling, I don't normally delete comments. You can talk about whatever the hell you want in the comment section. It's all fucking good. But if you are going to leave comments, please tell me what you like about my channel, what you don't like about my channel, what you'd like to see more of, what you'd like to see less of. I'm very open to criticism. I may not always adjust how I make my videos, right? Or at least certain parts of them. But that doesn't mean that I don't value the criticisms and the ideas of the people who post in the down below. I mean, if you have 10,000 people who like one thing and one person who doesn't like that thing, you know, but regardless, I'm still maintaining my initial promise to never be a demagogue. It's always about academic honesty with me. It's always about integrity with me. Well, you know, when it comes to intellectual stuff. I'm still a goofy bastard, and I love joking around, so that part of me is probably never going to change. And when I say integrity, I'm not talking about these people that have broomsticks so shoved up their ass that they can't ever say anything inappropriate ever. Oh, my God. Yeah, I'm not like that. So, without further ado, I think I should get to... Oh. All right, sorry, I'm also watching Twitter because I linked this video to a friend on Twitter. So without further ado, let's look at the video we're about to be reviewing here. All right, now I hope this works. Now I also have the YouTube channel up. Look at the video we're about to be yeah. Oops. So I got the other video up, so if you leave live comments in the chat for this video, I'm going to look over every once in a while to check. And I'll be like reading people's comments live, I guess, for the few people who are going to be up right now. So yeah, let's get to the video here. All right.
Multiple genders or sexes. But
oh, that's okay.
So I don't understand why people have a problem with the idea of multiple genders or sexes.
Okay, well, here's the answer to your first question. Because multiple genders and multiple sexes is an unfounded claim. There's no scientific evidence whatsoever that there are more than one gender or more than one sex. That's why. And all the arguments so far from social justice warriors, feminists, you know, like all these sub and major groups is nothing more than appeal to emotion. And that doesn't sway intellectual opinion. Not on something like this. Not on something that's scientifically factual.
Firstly, it confuses me as an appreciator of science. Back in the day when I used to argue all the time with creationists online.
You used to argue with creationists online? You must know something about biology then. I mean, usually the number one argument against creationists is because they're attacking the theory of the process of evolution. I would suspect then that if you've argued with creationists, that even if it wasn't your arguments alone, you should have been reading or listening to other people's arguments on how biology works. And I'm going to be holding this to you later.
And it always used to baffle me the ridiculous amount of black and white thinking that these people would employ. But science shows us that the universe is not a black and white place.
That's true most of the time.
It's a crazy, diverse place full of strange and wonderful things that don't always conform to neat little boxes.
That's a wonderful thing about our universe and our world and science in general. I agree with you, Michael Rowlands. That's one of the things I love about science is how unique and different so many things are. That's why I picked the water bear as the symbol of this group, right? It's because it's so strange and so different. The water bear can actually survive in the vacuum of fucking space. It's one of the most unique creatures out there. I also love the duck-billed platypi. These creatures are one of the only mammals that have fucking poison, and it's in their hind legs. They lay eggs. They're mammals that lay eggs. That's fucking mind-blowing. So I totally agree with you, Michael Rowlands. I totally agree with you.
Why, for example, the tree of life is so complicated and continues to get more complicated the more we discover about the world. The deeper we look into the philology of these things, the deeper we go, the more we see.
Yeah. I totally agree with you, Michael. I totally fucking agree. And for those who are wondering why I'm stopping the video, it's because I don't want another copyright claim thing, especially by someone like this. So let's keep going.
That the world doesn't fit into tiny, neat little boxes. So why is it then that people have such a hard time accepting that maybe, just maybe, our ideas about gender and sex aren't perfect?
Nobody has a problem with that, Michael. Nobody. And if I'm wrong about that, prove me wrong. Show me a clear example of someone who has a problem with the idea. Right? Because no one is saying the idea is completely, wackadoo, right? No one has a problem with the idea that these things might be true. They have a problem with your inability to provide facts.
That maybe our simplistic binary view of something as complicated as personal identity might...
Whoa. Personal identity has nothing to do with whether or not you are one sex or another. It has nothing to do. You can personally identify as whatever the fuck you want. I can identify as a transforming robot. The question, however, is identifying as something and actually being that thing you identify as are completely separate things. Does that idea sink in? This is why people make the Apache helicopter reference all the time. I identify as an Apache helicopter, blah, blah, blah. And they give the exact same argument as people who claim to be transgender. Other people who claim that there's 46,000 different fucking genders. I identify as Z. Well, motherfucker, I can identify with any letter of the alphabet too. That doesn't mean that I'm a completely different sex because I identify as one.
Not be as cut and dry as we think it is. How could it be that someone is perfectly willing to accept that the universe is this amazing, beautiful, complex, mysterious place?
Right. Universe is mysterious and complex and
full of gray areas and weird shit that makes no sense.
Well, is it that it makes no sense, or is it makes no sense to you?
But then as soon as we talk about biological sex, nope, we got that perfectly right, and there's only two.
Because the universe being vast and complicated and wondrous has nothing to do with proving that there's more than two genders or more than two sexes. We don't just make outrageous claims and then support it with no motherfucking evidence. You haven't provided any fucking evidence. Your argument so far is the universe is vast and mysterious, and therefore there's more than two genders. So far, that's all I've gotten from you, Michael. But let's keep going. Maybe he explains.
Well, I hate to break it to you, buddy, but you're wrong.
Okay, now prove it. If I'm wrong, then you can prove me wrong. Go ahead, Michael. Prove me wrong.
First of all, you're ignoring intersex people.
No, I'm not. Intersex is not a completely different sex. It's not a different gender. I know intersex people, Michael. They follow me on Twitter. They argue with me on Twitter. They argue with me online all the fucking time, right? I know these people. Well, not all the people who are intersex. That'd be fucking ridiculous. But yeah, I know some people who are intersex, Michael, and they're not a completely different sex. All that is a chromosomal dysfunction. It's an abnormality, Michael. An abnormality. If intersex is your proof that gender is a spectrum, you just fucking lost the argument.
Intersex is a catch-all term for people who are born with a biological sex that does not align with the traditional sexual binary. And
no, it's not, Michael. No, it's not. As a matter of fact, let's go look at a scientific piece of fucking evidence, right? So, all right, so no live chat yet. So let's go to the APA. That's the official psychology, right? So if you look in the corner here, it says apa.org. Yeah, that's psychology. So let's look what they say intersex. What does intersex mean? A variety of conditions that lead to atypical development of physical sex characteristics are collectively referred to as intersex conditions. These conditions can involve abnormalities of the external genitals, internal reproductive organs, sex chromosomes, or sex-related hormones. Some examples include external genitals that cannot be easily classified as male or female. Notice it says easily classified. It doesn't say they're a different gender. It doesn't say they're a different sex. It just says easily classified. Incomplete or unusual development of the internal reproductive organs. Inconsistency between the external genitals and the internal reproductive organs. Abnormalities of sexual chromosomes. Abnormal development of the testes or ovaries. Over or underproduction of sexual-related hormones. Inability of the body to respond normally to sex-related hormones. Okay, so what this is talking about, right, as there's not just the chromosomal anomaly part here. There are some people who are born male, genetically male. They have Y chromosomes, Y chromosome or Y chromosomes, but their body doesn't respond to testosterone or the other signals to develop the male genitalia. So the body then starts creating female genitalia, right? Well, female-looking genitalia. Or what also happens is that the internal sexual organ of the female comes outward, and it looks so similar to a penis that it's very difficult for doctors to look at and go, fuck me. I don't know what this is. It could be male. It could be female. It looks very much like, right, because the way it is. And there was a 2020 piece on this in the fucking 90s. I watched that whole thing, and yeah, they even warned the audience this is going to get graphic, so be warned. Okay, so the first question here is, how common are intersex conditions? 1 in 1,500. That is 0.002% of the population. This is going to be very important in a few minutes. As a matter of fact, I'm going to look at my Twitter feed real quick. Okay, yeah, there's this person's fucking retarded, but that's a different argument and discussion for a different day. So let's get back to.
And it's not one distinct category either. There are a variety of different biological sexes that can be classed under intersex. It's almost as if it was some sort of, spectrum or something.
Yeah, but it's not, Michael. It's a simple case of natural selection and genetic mutation. That's all it fucking is. And genetic mutations can occur on any fucking level of the body. Any fucking level. So what happens here is a sperm is usually, most of the time, has an X or a Y, and it meets with the egg, which has a sexual chromosome of an X or an X. I'm not even joking there. Now, what happens is either the eggs doesn't have the X chromosome. It's missing for some reason. During fertilization and how the chromosomes are put together in the cells, right? When it's forming the egg, the chromosome can get left out, or it wasn't created properly, or something, right? And the egg does not have an X in it. Or the egg has two X's, right? And the sperm can have no Y and no X, or it can have another X, right? So the female has three X's in her sexual chromosomes. Or there can be no X's, right? And then a Y from the sperm happens. Or there can be two Y's from the sperm and no X's in the eggs. There's all sorts of sexual dysfunction that can occur, right? A mutation that can occur when these cells are constantly dividing and shit. So, no, it's not a spectrum. There's just a lot of shit that can happen when you're talking about biology and mutations, Michael. You should fucking know this if you argued with creationists.
And did you know that there are more than two different karyotypes? A karyotype is a picture of a person's set of chromosomes, and I was always under the impression that these manifest in only two ways, XX and XY, male and female. Wrong.
Okay, so you don't understand basic biology. Dude, this shit's covered in a basic psychology class. Even when I took my nursing class, they made me take the psychology for nursing. That was even in that one, right? Essentials of Lifespan Development. They covered this shit. This is covered in fucking high school textbooks, Michael. What the fuck is wrong with you? How do you not know this shit? You're talking about things you know nothing about. That or you're disingenuous as fuck. I'm sorry, but it's one of the two. How do you argue against creationists and know this little about how biology and AKA science works?
The six most common ways that these manifest are X, XX, XXY, XY, XYY, and XXXY. Man, who knew that human biology could be so complicated and not...
Everybody did, Michael. Everybody knows how complicated biology can. Anyone who's watched More, right, with he is not the father, or two people come back, one white, one black, and they both come back as the fathers for these twins. The one's white and one's black. Everybody knows how complicated biology can be. That's why abortion became illegal in the first fucking place, is because of all the shit that can go wrong with just human reproduction, Michael. There are so many fucking complications. So many fucking things that can happen. So many rare things that just pop up out of fucking nowhere. That's why doctors go to med school for as long as they fucking do, Michael, because shit in biology is complicated as fuck and mutations can get really fucking weird.
Black and white. I've also heard people acknowledge that intersex people exist, but they don't count that as a separate sex.
Okay, Michael, here's why. Here's why it's not a different sex, Michael. Does it function any differently? No. Do they have reproductive system that is not male or female at all? No. A woman who has no Y chromosome still has a vagina, eggs, uterus, and all the other bits and pieces that goes along with being genetically female. And any of those intersex people born with a Y chromosome still has a penis, testicles, prostate, and all the other bits and pieces that make them genetically male. It's not a fucking spectrum. It's not a different sex. In order for it to be a different sex, Michael, it would have to, 1, look completely different, and 2, function completely different. Intersex people can still have sex and reproduce with non-intersex people. A woman who has just one X chromosome, right, still reproduces the exact same fucking way as a woman with 2 X chromosomes. And a guy with 2 Y chromosomes and 1 X chromosome, that's also intersex, by the way, still reproduces the exact same fucking way as a guy with just 1 X chromosome and 1 Y chromosome. That's why they're not a different sex. They don't have a different form of reproduction. Their genitals don't look differently or don't act differently enough to warrant a different fucking gender or a different fucking sex. That's why, Michael.
I mean, what? You acknowledge that there are people who exist whose biology doesn't align with a strict binary, but that doesn't count as a different sex because reasons.
Yeah, good reasons, Michael. They're not any really fucking different. I mean, yeah, sure, on a sometimes visually intersex people look differently because there's an abnormality. An abnormality does not constitute a completely different thing. Here's an example, Michael. I have more bones in my body than you do, and I can prove it. I have something called multiple heredity exotosis, aka extra bones. Because I have extra bones, Michael, does that make me a completely different kind of human being? Does that make me a completely different species, Michael, just because I have more bones in my body than you do? No, I'm not a completely different species. I mean, yeah, I'm a water bear, sure. But I'm not actually a water bear, Michael. So, yeah, Michael, there you go. I just answered and explained to you in a very simple fucking way. And if you understood anything about biology, or if you weren't a disingenuous piece of shit, you'd be able to understand this. But you're so caught up in your fucking ideology that you've just thrown out all the fucking logic and all the reasoning out of your fucking head. And this is what social justice bullshit does to people. You're so inclined to force things to fit your worldview that you can't handle basic fucking logic. It's that simple, Michael. Everyone tends to have something different with their body on a chromosomal level. Having something slightly different on your chromosomal level does not make something completely genetic difference or make it a fucking spectrum. Hair color is a fucking spectrum, Michael. Skin color, skin tone is a fucking spectrum. Does that mean they're a completely different species, Michael? Is someone with red hair a completely different species than someone with blonde hair? No. But that's a slight chromosomal difference. So how are they a different sex, Michael? You still never explained how they're a different sex. You said intersex people exist, therefore sex is a spectrum. but you haven't proven how intersex is any fucking different. What, reproductive-wise, visually-wise, or anything, Michael? You haven't. Let's go back for a second to that APA. This is, by the way, American Psychological Association. This is the official academic psychological website, or website for psychologists and psychological research. Seriously, you can find just about anything on this fucking site. By the way, there's two APAs. There's the American Psychiatric Association and the American Psychological Association. Try not to get those confused. It's actually very easy, and they disagree with each other on a few things. I'm going to flat out say it, because psychiatrists love fucking prescribing shit, and so they're biased that way. Are intersex conditions always apparent at birth? Not always. Some intersex conditions cause babies to be born with genitals that cannot easily be classified as male or female. That's easily, not that they are completely different, called ambiguous genitals. Yeah, they're ambiguous. That doesn't mean that they can't be classified as male or female, just that it can't be done easily. These intersex conditions are usually recognized at birth. The first four conditions listed above, congenital adrenal hyperplasia, alpha, actually, okay, what are some examples of intersex conditions? Let's look at these. Congenital adrenal hyperplasia, in which overproduction of hormones in the adrenal gland causes masculinization of the genitals in female infants. For those who don't know, males and females both have varying levels of testosterone and estrogen. So when one is significantly more produced than the other, you tend to have the sexual characteristics also respond differently. So 5-alpha reductase deficiency is which low levels of enzyme 5-alpha reductase causes incomplete masculinization of the genitals in male infants. Right, so the male genitalia doesn't form like it's supposed to. It's incomplete. It's still male genitalia right here, genitals and male infants. It's still male genitalia, right? You know, it's just whatever. Partial adrenal insensitivity, in which cells do not respond normally to testosterone and related hormones, as I mentioned earlier, causing incomplete masculinization of the genitals in male infants. Male infants! Not intersex infants, male infants. They are still classified as male. Klinefelter syndrome, in which male infants are born with an extra X female chromosome, which typically has incomplete masculinization and other abnormalities. Again, it still says male infants. So this is when this is your YXX. Turner syndrome, in which female infants are born with 1 rather than 2 X female chromosomes, causing developmental abnormalities. Again, female infants. There you go, Michael. I just did right here on the psychology fucking website answering questions about these things right then and there. They're still male and they're still female. And if they were biologically different enough, then they'd have a completely different name for the sex. Sex is not a spectrum. Gender is not a spectrum. There's two. By the way, gender, genitals, that's not a fucking coincidence.
That's like saying, yes, I know that there are multiple different flavors of chocolate, but the only real flavors are 70% cocoa and almond. All those other ones.
No, that's a complete false analogy.
They don't count. No, they're all flavors, and they're all as equally as legitimate as each other.
Yeah, but they're all still flavors.
And your opinions don't factor in the matter.
Exactly, Michael. Opinions based on your own personal preferences don't matter when it comes to biology. And again, you haven't proven that intersex is a different sex in any way, shape, or form.
Except for orange flavored chocolate. Fuck that shit. As the great Tim Minchin once said, science adjusts its views based on what's observed. Faith.
Yeah, exactly. So observe something functionally different, right, in reproduction with intersex people to show that they're a completely different sex.
Is the denial of observation so that belief can be preserved. And okay, maybe you've only seen one weenie and a few cha-chas in your time, but your personal experience on these matters doesn't trump that of millions of other people. And
yeah, I agree, Michael. It also doesn't matter if a million people agree that there are like thousands of different genders. That opinion doesn't matter. The facts matter. And the fact is, intersex is not a completely different sex or a completely different gender.
you know, science. Fact is, there are people who are born that do not conform to the strict binary of biological sex and
Yes, they do. You haven't proven otherwise.
gender that you are so desperate to cling to. And it's
I'm not desperate to cling to anything, Roland. Now you're just making fucking accusations. Or maybe you're talking about a specific person you had an argument with before, but I don't know that person, and I haven't seen those comments. So go ahead, man. Show these people that you're talking about.
ludicrous to me that one would hear this information and then continue to believe there are only two sexes. Blind faith at its worst.
It's not blind faith. You make shit arguments.
Secondly, it confuses me as a lover of language. Constant objections are...
A lover of language. I love language too. But you know what I don't do, Michael? I don't try to use word games to actually prove my point, right? Unless I'm demonstrating someone's using a logical fallacy. One of the things I wrote when I was really young, still in high school actually, is that I can prove you don't exist, Michael. First, I pretend you're my friend. Since pretending is the act of an imagination, you are therefore my imaginary friend. Imaginary things are non-real. Therefore, because something is non-real, non-real things don't exist. Therefore, Michael, you don't exist. See, I just proved you don't exist using your same fucking argument. By the way, that's called argument, or that's called ambiguous fallacy. I'm using multiple uses of a fucking word in a fucking argument, and that's essentially what you're doing right here, Michael. You're trying to use the word intersex to mean multiple sexes. That's not how it works.
Often hear things like, these people are just making up a bunch of words. They're using words how they're not supposed to be used. 64 pronouns, that's too many. If we allow this to happen, what's going to stop people from identifying as chapters and fairies and dragons and shit? And
I hate to break it to you, Michael, but people do identify as fairies and dragons and tigers and all sorts of other really weird fucking shit. Those people are called otherkin, and they identify as different animals and creatures and all sorts of shit. They actually exist, Michael. They identify as those things. So why aren't you arguing that dragons really exist, Michael? Why aren't you arguing that? Because they identify as them. Doesn't that mean that they are those things simply because they identify as them? Where does the fucking line stop, Michael? And 46 different genders? Imagine that on every single medical fucking forum or every job application. Select your gender. Well, fuck. The moment like one gender's not in there, you're going to have this social justice warrior, special fucking snowflake, raise all sorts of hell that they're being oppressed simply because someone didn't hear of whatever thing they just knew made up of. Are you fucking kidding me? I mean, think about it. It's on the thing. It says select Miss, Mrs., Mr., Doctor, Junior. Can you imagine all the fucking genders that they'd have to fucking put on those fucking forms? There'd be 3 pages of just select your fucking gender. And then you'd have people who write in Mr. Z, G, B, he, cop, oof, eek, ak, she, and he, it. Just because these people are so desperate to be fucking different. Now I'm different. I'm a very unique person. I do all sorts of weird fucking things all the goddamn time. But I have a need to be me. I don't have a need to be different. I'd actually prefer to be normal like other people were. Because I see, like, in so many ways how their life is a lot easier. They can connect easier to other people than I can. They can relate to other people in ways that I can't. They understand shit that it boggles my fucking mind. Like when a person cheats on a partner. I don't understand that, Michael. I don't understand how one person can cheat on someone they're in a relationship with like that. I stopped watching Orange is the New Black because I was so disgusted with the character when she cheated on her fucking husband that she hasn't even had sex with to consummate the marriage. Shit like that is beyond my comprehension because I'm so different. But I don't have a need to be different. I have a need to be myself. These people who come up with these thousands of different genders and this this otherkin bullshit, they have a need to be different. They have a need to be so fucking special. That's why they're fucking the fucking bios are just the fucking identity politic bullshit.
And these are, of course, super silly objections.
No, they're not. They're legitimate. You can dismiss them all you want. But I just gave you a real world case scenario where this shit is going to get real fucking ridiculous real fucking quick. But let's re-listen to that because I ranted on for a minute.
Some shit. And these are, of course, super silly objections. They're using words how they're not supposed to be used. 64 pronouns, that's too many. If we allow this to happen, what's going to stop people from identifying as chapters and fairies and dragons and shit? And these are, of course, super silly objections.
No, okay, so what he's talking about here is the creation of words, right? Because the argument is all words are made up, therefore words can mean whatever you want them to mean. Okay, Michael Rowlands, I'm going to make up I'm going to use the word child molester as anyone who wears a blue shirt. You are currently wearing a blue shirt, therefore I identify you as a child molester. Can I go around calling you a child molester, Michael? Because that's how I decided to redefine the word for myself, since all words are made up and you can use any word to mean anything you want it to at any point in time. Can I go around calling you a child molester or a child rapist because you're wearing a blue shirt and just not add in the fact that I've changed the definition for myself personally? This is why we have dictionaries, Roland.
For one, all words are made up. There are no words that exist as omnipresent beings outside the existence of humanity. Words exist.
Oh, yeah, okay, sure, fine. Oh, okay, then you're a child rapist because I've decided that a child rapist is someone who wears a blue shirt. So I'm creating a new word for people who wear blue shirts, and that's child rapist. All right, so everyone go on his channel and call him a child rapist. No, not really. Don't do that. Obviously, I'm being facetious here. Well, they're going to his channel. Don't go to his channel and troll him. You know, don't troll anyone. That's my disclaimer right here now. Don't troll anyone. Freely go to his channel and make whatever comments on his video that you deem are, I guess, acceptable. But please don't troll. Don't harass, right? I'm all about starting arguments and everything else if they're intellectually honest. You know, because I think bad arguments should have, you know, whatever. And I don't care if he sends his 1,603 subscribers onto my channel to leave comments. I'm freely willing to engage in anyone who leaves any kind of comment on my videos. And as I said before, I'm a very big proponent of freedom of speech. So if you leave a comment, there's a really good motherfucking chance I'm not going to delete it. Even if you say horrible shit about me. You can say whatever horrible shit about me you want. You can say I suck at making YouTube videos. You can say that I'm the worst person in fucking history. I'm not going to delete your comment. Now, if you try to incite riot or if you physically threaten someone, I'm probably going to report you because that shit's not right. If you try to dox someone, I might delete your comments because you are literally endangering someone's life. Other than that, leave whatever fucking comment you want on my channel. And again, I'm going to ask not to troll this guy on his channel.
Because of us. So what is wrong with making up some new words to describe new things that we don't yet have words for? As we
except we do have words for these things, Michael. You're just, again, failing to realize that we have words for these, and you're trying to create extra words for shit we already have words for. Making up words and making up concepts to fit those words, right, when they don't really exist, doesn't help anything.
We learn and discover more about the world, we're going to need new words to describe those new things that we discover.
No, but we don't need new words for shit we already have words for. I don't need 6,000 different words for salt. Sure, when you're talking about different fields of study, right, like law and medicine, right, there's actually you know, classes you can take where the two fields combine, right? And then there's all these fucking laws for, you know, the medical field, because medical words and legal words are completely fucking separate. You can't mince words in physics and chemistry because each field has their own jargon. If Michael knew this, he wouldn't be making this bullshit argument right here. Again, I can say, you know, I made up a new word for people who wear blue shirts, and it's child rapist. Again, Michael, argue against this. Give me a logical reason as to why what I'm doing is wrong, but what these creating 46,000 different genders for genders that don't fucking exist, why that's good, why that's okay. Give me one that isn't special pleading, Michael.
I don't see people complaining about scientists always making up new words to describe new species of animals.
Yeah, nobody does, Michael. Unless that new species of animal isn't a new species. And since we're on the topic, Michael, when you're talking about the study of birds, bird biologists, they argue back and fucking forth. Is this a species, or is this a subspecies, or is this the same fucking bird? And a lot of the times it's over just like different color fucking Asian of the fucking feathers. It's heavily fucking argued. So they don't need to come up with new species for things that aren't actually a new fucking species. And that, but whether or not it is an actual different species is heavily argued. So yeah, again, you don't seem to know shit about science.
But the words aren't coming about naturally, man. Who cares? If there is a thing that needs a word to describe it, then why not make up a new word for that thing?
But it's not a new thing, Michael. You're artificially creating a thing that doesn't actually exist and saying, well, we need a word for this and we need people to respect this because this is how now someone personally identifies. I don't give a shit how you fucking identify. Michael, you're white. You're male. You can identify as a non-gendered fucking unicorn, but that doesn't make you a non-gendered fucking unicorn, does it?
Why does it matter if it hasn't come about through years of language evolution or some bullshit? And why should it matter if there's
language evolution? Dude, do you know what the fuck you're talking about? In science, they use Greek and Latin to form names for things. That or the name is named after the person who discovered it, like the G-spot. The G-spot is named after this guy with a really long German name that I probably can't pronounce because he discovered the fucking spot. And when things are labeled scientifically, like erythrocytes, well, why do we call them erythrocytes? Because they're fucking red. Erythro is Latin for red. At least I think it's Latin. It might be Greek. I keep getting those fucking things confused. Right? Pediatrics. PED, right? In the combining form O, pedo, right, is either foot or child. Atrix means treatment. So to treat the foot or to treat the child, right? So it actually could work either way. Radiology. It comes from the word radiation. Ology means the study of. This is how words work, Michael. How the fuck are you going to sit there and talk about science when, again, you clearly don't know shit about it, or you're pretending you don't, just so you can make this bullshit fucking argument?
There's dozens of new pronouns. Oh no, dozens of new words to describe dozens of new things. Oh.
But it's not a new thing, Michael. It's just, it's the same shit, but they're calling it something new.
The humanities. It all smacks to me of people complaining about something that has absolutely no effect on them. Different people.
But it does have effect on them, Michael, because it's being rammed down their fucking throat, and people are demanding that their genders be acknowledged even when those genders don't fucking exist. They actually are trying to, or did pass a law finding anyone who refuses to acknowledge someone's made up fucking gender pronoun.
Who are different from you, who want to do life differently from you, and that offends some people for some reason.
Yeah, who the fuck are you to find me or to have me fined simply because I refuse to play your fucking fantasy game, Michael? It's like me charging you $50 or $125 or $250 for not joining my Dungeons and Dragons game, a fantasy game you may not have any interest in playing or the time to fucking play. Some people don't want to memorize every single individual's different motherfucking gender. And if you don't acknowledge those genders, then you get fucking fined. And that's the shit you social justice warrior assholes are trying to push for, because it's oppression somehow not to acknowledge someone's fake fucking gender.
Why does it matter to you so much if a person doesn't conform to the rigid gender identifiers that are ingrained to us from birth by a culture that is obsessed with cramming people into tiny little boxes of conform?
I don't, Michael. I don't give a shit what you call yourself. I don't give a shit how you identify. I don't. But why do you have to push your identity onto me? That's when I have a problem with it. When you tell me I have to refer to you by your preferred pronoun, that's literally affecting me. Because you're trying to change the way I look at the world, the way I respond to people, and how I act. You're trying to change my behavior when you assholes do shit like that. So what do you care if I identify someone as male when they identify as female? Why do you care, Michael? Because you assholes will claim that I'm being oppressive. No, Michael, I'm just not willing to distort reality to make you fucking happy.
Why does it matter to you if someone wants to be addressed as she or ni or vi or spivik?
You can want to be addressed however you want. I'm just not going to address you as that. It's not going to happen.
I mean, I can understand not wanting to misgender people. Not that that's what these motherfuckers care about, but why does it matter to you if someone self-identifies as that? It's like...
you self-identifying is one thing. You requiring me to identify you as that is another.
The most ridiculous cis privilege, to be lucky enough to be born...
Oh, cis privilege. Oh, here we fucking go. Cis privilege. Explain to me what cis fucking privilege is. There's no such thing as cis privilege, Michael. There's no such thing as cis.
Cis, and then expect everyone else to conform to that. And that...
Because you can't actually change genders or sex, Michael. You can mutilate your genitals all day long to look like something it's not. It doesn't make it that thing. If I dress my cat up as a dog, it's not actually a fucking dog. If I go blackface and walk around town, I'm not actually a black person, Michael. And identifying as a black person doesn't make me black. It doesn't change the fact that my descendants will never have sickle cell anemia. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden, because I change my face, color my face black and my arms black, and I go around, you know, that I'm going to respond differently to medications that negatively affect people of African descent than it is, you know, because that's how it works, Michael. And thus doesn't work. Right? See, I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but here's how it works, Michael. Some people of different races responded differently to medication, right? So if you have African descent and someone else has European descent, someone's going to react negatively to some forms of medication because of their African ancestry. And if you have high European ancestry, right, you're going to respond negatively to different other drugs. And where the drugs that affect people of African descent are not going to negatively affect you from a European descent, right? It's not going to... They generally don't clash because there's something in the genetic makeup that you're going to respond to these drugs differently. Coloring your face black and identifying as a black person will not make you negatively affected by those drugs. This is the difference between identifying as something and actually being something, Michael. That's the fucking difference. Dressing your cat up as a dog and then feeding it dog food, it's going to respond differently than if it actually was a fucking dog.
It makes you the biggest asshole. And lastly...
No, okay, it doesn't. And again, you just use an ad hominem. Agree with me or you're an asshole. You're wrong because you're an asshole. That's essentially what you're saying. Try coming up with an argument that isn't a logical fallacy, Michael, or a factual fallacy, for fuck's sake.
Confuses me as a normal, empathetic human being. As someone who cares about other people and respects that my identity is not an authority on how other people should self-identify.
Again, I'm not telling other people how to self-identify. I'm just saying I'm not necessarily willing to accept that identification. That doesn't make me an asshole, Michael. That means that I care about reality and I don't care about your fucking delusions. I really don't.
It makes no sense to me that people would be so adamantly against even entertaining the idea that gender and biological sex might be slightly more complicated than they think it is.
No one's arguing that, Michael. No one is arguing that it could be far more complicated than we currently realize. No one's arguing that. But coming up with the 46,000 different fucking gender identifications, it doesn't fucking exist, Michael.
Other people might have differing life experiences from them.
Again, personal experience does not reality make. Are you fucking... Dude, you argue with creationists. How many of them claim that they personally have a relationship with God? How many of them claim that they've seen and met Jesus Christ? Where's the evidence Jesus Christ even exists? This is not, and this is an argument you wouldn't fucking tolerate from a creationist. So why is it okay now that you're a social justice warrior?
And that other people's minds and bodies might be different from how theirs are. To me, it's just the same.
No one's arguing that, Michael.
Same as any other bigotry. People who don't like or are uncomfortable with other people who are different from them or different from.
Michael, I love people who are different from me. I love diversity, Michael. I love meeting people from different cultures and backgrounds and seeing how they perceive, you know, like different cultures and stuff. I like that. To me, that shit's fucking fascinating. That's why I love history. That's why I love anthropology. That's why I love Star Trek, dude. But that doesn't mean that different genders exist.
The norm. Different culture, different race, different sexual orientation, different gender, whatever.
Yeah, I also don't care what well, I've admittedly, I've openly said this on Twitter all the fucking time. People at my church fucking know I am homophobic when it comes to males. Seeing two guys kiss weirds me out. I don't know why. I can't fucking explain it. But if it's legal for a gay couple, sorry, if it's legal for straight people to kiss in public, it should be legal for gay people. How I feel is completely fucking irrelevant to the situation. Me being uncomfortable should only affect me because it's my motherfucking problem. It's not their problem. And all my gay friends on Twitter know this or should know this by now. And my reverend, by the way, is gay. And I don't have a problem talking to him. He knows that I'm homophobic. And he knows that when it comes to gay rights, I'm all for him. I'm all for gays having the exact same fucking rights I do. It's just something that makes me uncomfortable. I don't know why.
When people discover that there are other people in the world who do life differently from them,
I don't care. Nobody cares, Michael. This is a non-argument. This is not only a non-argument; it's an argument no one's made.
Makes them scared for some reason, and makes them feel like their way of life is in danger somehow. And God forbid.
Yeah, there are a few shut-ins. Big whoop. Move on.
We allow these other people to be treated the same as us. Allowing women to vote, society is going to crumble. Allowing gay...
Yeah, nobody made that argument, Michael.
Gays to marry, society is going to crumble.
Yeah, okay, so there's a couple... Yeah, again, they didn't really make that argument. But the moment gays did get the right to vote, you had NAMBLA saying... Or, sorry, gays, what am I saying? When gays got the right to marry each other, which I was in full support of, and wish Ohio didn't fight against it, the moment that happened, though, you had NAMBLA fighting for the right to have sex with children. The moment, and bestiality. You had other groups. Zeta was also, the moment that fucking happened, they started saying, hey, we should be allowed to have sex with animals. So the slippery slope there, it did exist, but everybody fucking ignored it. So it's kind of a non-issue. But there it is.
Allowing black people to sit at the front of the bus, society is going to crumble. Acknowledging...
Dude, no one said that society was going to crumble because black people sit at the front of the bus. That was actually legitimately about segregating whites and blacks and oppressing black people, because in every form of the separation of the races, everything that the blacks had, like the black bathrooms, the fucking black fountains, the black schools, sitting at the back of the bus, It was all to degrade the fucking race, right? They always got the shittier end of the stick. Actually, they got the shitty stick, and were told, oh, it's equal to my stick that has no shit on it. Yeah, but no one said society was going to crumble. They just didn't want to lose power. And arguing whether there are more than two genders and more than two sex, nobody is arguing that society is going to crumble if we acknowledge these things. It's a pain in the ass, and it's just this illusionary bullshit. And you haven't proven, not once in your 8 and 20-minute video, that other sexes and other genders exist. You've just said intersex exists, and that proves sex is a spectrum, which it doesn't.
That trans, intersex, and non-binary, etc. are just as
trans, intersex? There's no such thing as trans, intersex.
Human and entitled to their own identity as everybody else. Society's gonna crumble. Okay, so you don't want to accept that certain people don't conform to the traditional gender or sexual binary. Okay.
No, we're not saying that. No one's saying that.
Okay, well, I don't accept your self-identification as a rational, skeptical humanist. You're an asshole.
Okay. You don't accept it. I don't give a shit whether you accept or don't accept. You clearly don't accept reality, so I don't give a shit.
And a terrible person who needs to stop letting faith govern their beliefs and get...
Really? Because all you've mentioned is religious bullshit. My idea is right, and if you disagree with my ideas here, then you're a horrible, shitty person. That's the argument you've made 3 times at least so far that I've counted making this video.
Their nose out of other people's business. And
I'm not telling you to keep... I'm not putting my nose in your business. I'm saying I'm refusing to gender identify someone as Z and she and what the fuck ever they come up with. There are 2 genders and there are 2 sexes. If you can prove otherwise, you would have, but you can't. And you're asking me to not to identify other people as how they self-identify. So you're not telling, so I'm not sticking my nose in their business. You're trying to shove their business in my nose. There's a fucking difference.
In the end, you're not just denying science or getting language wrong. You are denying someone's humanity. You are
No, I'm denying their illusion. I'm denying their delusional as fuck attitude towards gender.
Denying people who are different from you are part of their identity.
No, I'm not. They can identify however the fuck they want, but that doesn't mean I have to acknowledge that that identity is real.
Part of themselves that they had no choice in creating.
Yes, they do. They go out of their way to create a separate gender to make themselves unique as fuck. Or as unique as they possibly fucking can. They did have a choice. That's why they looked and they tried to create a new gender to make themselves feel special.
Further the narrative that there are only 2 sexes or genders, we tell the people that do not conform to those identities that they are wrong, that they are abnormal, that a part of themselves.
They're not wrong or abnormal. They're just making shit up to be special.
That they have no control over.
They have control over it. That's the fucking point.
Broken, and it somehow needs fixing. So it's not just about special.
Yes, it is.
Snowflakes getting upset because they can't use.
Yes, it is.
Use their pair pronoun. It's people being denied an essential part of their identity.
No, it's not.
And forced to conform to what is considered normal for
No, it's not.
No other reason than an imbalance of power and a lack.
No, it's not an imbalance of power. It's a lack of cogent fucking arguments with lack of fucking facts. Again, Michael, where the fuck are your facts?
Of empathy.
All right, now let's go to the comments. Yeah, I should have done this. Oh, son of a bitch, wrong button. All right. So let's see if anyone left any comments. God damn it, I keep clicking the wrong fucking buttons. All right. Yeah, I should have done this earlier. I apologize. And no fucking comments. So there's nothing to really read. All right. So that's my review. Let me know what you think in the down below. Everyone have a, fantastic infinity, Yeah, it always fucking does it. All right. So everyone have a wonderful day. Leave whatever comments you like down below. You know, even if you want to fucking troll my ass, well, I don't give a shit. I'm not a special fucking thin-skinned snowflake. And I will be posting this on his channel so he can see the video response. If he has a Twitter, maybe I'll just put it there. You know, whatever. Anyway, I'm going to make this available so you can see what I said, because I believe in transparency and all that other bullshit. If you're going to talk about someone, you should let them know you're mentioning them. I generally do, whether it's Willie Bumblebee or Hannah Wallen or AT's Engineer, all people I've talked about or had videos with, you know, so whatnot. Everyone have a wonderful, beautiful fucking day.